customers, blocking their loyal fan base. This is hypothetically speaking, but hopefully that's what they can do.
Well, they also got to rely on majority of the tickets actually being bought by people who live there and not so much travelers from other cities, which is big in Vegas. A lot of the ones are tourists. So is it going to be a continuous fan supply every single game? I highly doubt it. But it would be nice to see it succeed in some way or another. At least it would feel a little better knowing that Quebec got passed over for a team that actually somewhat did okay.
I would agree there. I would agree there. It'd be a huge shame to see this happen and then just kind of crash and burn, and then everyone just saying, "Well, what if they went this way instead of that way?"
Yeah, we already have one defunct team in the desert. We don't need two.
It's funny. Well, hey, they started getting rid of all the hot teams. Atlanta went back up to Winnipeg, so we got rid of the Thrashers.
Yeah, we got the Jets back.
Get rid of them somehow. Florida's still down there. Phoenix, God, don't give me started on the Coyotes.
Yeah, Arizona now. Sorry, you got to get that right.
Oh yeah, I guess it is the Arizona Coyotes. Yeah.
But we have the Winnipeg Jets back. You have the Edmonton Oilers, part of the the original WHA days. It'll be nice. I really want to see the Quebec Nordiques come back, the Hartford Whalers, which has never once been in any rumor to come back. It'd be nice to see the Hartford Whalers eventually show up.
That would be nice. It'd be nice. Speaking of which, Edmonton, don't they have to? Good Lord. Really? What were they thinking? What? I mean, I guess you could be saying that for the last, 5-6 years that they've had the number 1 or 2 draft pick and still have failed to put any competitive team on the ice. But what were they thinking in that trade?
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about who they got because as soon as I saw the name, I realized it was maybe a fourth tier defenseman that they got for arguably one of the better players on the Edmonton Oilers. If you're following, this of course isn't new to you guys since we're actually doing this show on a Wednesday and airing it on a Thursday. So this is new to us, not new to you guys. Taylor Hall is no longer part of the Edmonton Oilers. He has been shipped to New Jersey.
You arguably take top 5 left winger in the game, arguably, and you trade him for not even a top 2 defenseman.
I think this was not so much about what the return was. I think this was extremely about Taylor Hall himself. Taylor Hall has really made it open that he is not happy in Edmonton anymore. There's too many number 1 stars. He doesn't have the play, he doesn't have that ability to be a number 1 player anymore. At least in that market. And of course it's a salary cap issue as well, right?
It might be a cap issue. I think Edmonton is pretty set in the cap era. I think it was more along the lines of someone just panicking. I think it was they have no blue line help. I think they realized that they have no blue line help for the future. They saw this guy who could maybe somewhat be good. I think they put it in a good sense. He's not necessarily flashy, but at the same time, you could have still gotten more. You could have still gotten your defenseman that isn't all flashy. That can be stay-at-home, solid blue liner. That's fine. You couldn't get a draft pick out of it. You couldn't get a low-end prospect from somewhere. The return to me, it reeks panic to me. It reeks, oh my God, we need something on the blue line. Give me this, I'll give you this, okay? And it just reeks like somebody taking a match and knowing someone was desperate.
I want to agree with you. But we'll also add in the fact that there's been a lot of rumors about Edmonton pursuing Milan Lucic. So I believe them unloading. So I believe them unloading Taylor Hall on New Jersey was to clear room to potentially lure this player to them.
But you're still running into the same old problem that is the Edmonton Oilers. You're going to have how many top 6 forwards You're going to have no bottom six that can role play, that can defend, that can be your third line checking line, fourth line checking line, your shutdown defensive line. You have no G-men, and you still don't have a goalie. So you can give me 100 top six forwards that don't mean anything at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Oh,
So
I
why
agree.
would you make that move? You know?
I think if they are going for Lucic, definitely he is more of a well-rounded player. He can play multiple, positions. Definitely work on multiple lines. So I think he has a very, very big spot that he could fill. I don't expect this to be Edmonton's last trade or last, move before free agency begins. But that's just me.
I hope so. I hope so for the sake of the Oilers fans, because they have not, as we discussed with the first show, being a diehard Blackhawks fan, I know what it's like to have your organization go through the dark ages, and I just feel like they're in the dark ages. They got to come out. They got to see the light, and hopefully they can do it. But it's just right now, it seems like they're just kind of got their blindfolds on and just kind of throwing darts at a board and hoping they land.
Yeah, another team that is arguably going into the dark ages is Montreal. Montreal has definitely lost a few screws as of today. They traded PK Subban, arguably one of the greatest players to come into Montreal, and traded him to Nashville for Shea Weber, who is also a very unique all-star defense, but at the same point, he is no PK Subban.
No PK Subban. He's 4 years older. It doesn't make sense to me. You're locked in. The Subban contract, okay, it's a little bit more, yeah, granted, but you get him during his prime. He's out of his contract right as he's getting out of his prime. You have Weber's contract to your 40, he's 40 or 41. They have him to. This trade just seems to be, again, like people have just kind of decided to go into one room, we open up a couple bottles, have a couple drinks. Someone got into the wacky, and next thing you know, no one knows what's going on, because it just seems like nobody has any sort of sense in what's going on here. Just days on the day of just pure craziness. What, we're just gonna go ahead and roll some dice today.
I think this one was more of a personal issue than anything. Really no surprise to anyone that Subban has he's a very vocal player, very vocal person. There has been some bad blood back and forth over the last little while. There's been no secret of that. And I think this is just it boiling over. Enough is enough. Ship him out.
Why have we gotten to a state where I remember a day where here's your contract, and when a team didn't work with a player and a player with a team, they sat down, they went into a room, they hammered it out, they said, oh, swear, this is F you, F this, is that, this, you don't do this, you don't pay me that, well, you don't care about this. They hammered shit out, they got on the same page, and in a year or two, they won a damn championship together. The answers now is just, oh, well, you said this about my mom, so I'm going to ship you out. It's just like, it's petty. It's like high school. It's kind of like, well, sit down. There's millions of dollars are thrown at adults here. You're a man. I'm a man. Let's figure this out. How do we work together? If we're anything of a front office, we want to win. If you're anything of a player, you want to win. So how do we do that?
Oh, I completely agree.
Like, if you don't get along, you make it work, because the asset is still more valuable to the organization than trading him away for someone who is almost as good, but will be worse quicker and is older. It just doesn't make sense to me. The argument of, oh, I didn't get along with them. Well, figure it out. Figure out a way to get along. That's just going to make you a good GM is being able to get your teammates and your team players behind you and following your philosophy. That's what makes you a good GM, right? So,
absolutely.
What are you doing wrong?
No, absolutely. I think it'll be very interesting the direction that Montreal goes. I think they've taken a huge step backwards with this trade. And it made my phone ring like crazy today. There was a lot of pissed off fans, a lot of confused fans trying to figure out what Montreal's thinking, what direction they're going, and if the sky is going to fall.
Well, I'm personally extremely pissed off at Montreal. I mean, may or may not know this, but one of my personal favorite players is no longer a Chicago Blackhawk and is now a Montreal Canadian. That was a devastating blow to me personally. So I am with you guys on that's hate on Montreal Canadiens. Andrew Shaw is no longer with me. He's now a Canadian. So
and he signed pretty quickly.
I'm with you guys.
He signed what, a 6-year deal pretty quickly after being traded?
Yes, it was very quickly. I think it was 6 years. What was it?
23 million, I believe it was.
23 was it? Yeah, it was a 23. Okay.
I somewhere around that number. It was a pretty good amount. So obviously this is something that he wanted as well. Just to be able to, just for him to sign that 6-year contract so soon after being traded, that's a big thing.
Oh yeah.
Now, before we start wrapping up the show, which will be coming very shortly, let's get to the elephant in the room. $68 million contract, 8 years for Steven Stamkos. Every team,
I think that's brilliant.
Every team that moved players, who rearranged their rosters just to have a chance to acquire by far one of the greatest players in the NHL right now, are pretty much kicking themselves.
Right, and especially at the price that he took it. Oh my! I would do anything. I do mean anything to get that sort of talent on for 8.5 a year.
Yeah. Usually when a player signs for a contract like that, I shake my head and I question why. In this case, I shake my head and question why, but I question why not more.
I agree completely. You look at a Malkin who makes $10 million. You look at a Crosby who's at 10. You look at a Taves, a Kane, 10.5 each. You would think that a Stamkos would make that. The only thing I can think of is if this guy, and I'm not saying that any of these four I mentioned previously do not care about winning, but this guy truly showed that he cared about winning, because he says, I'll take 1.5 million less than the average going right now. And I'm sure he probably said that to Yzerman, and he said, as long as you go ahead and you put around competitive players around me, you put a team around me, you take that money, you don't pocket that, but you go ahead and you reinvest that in the team. And knowing Yzerman, he will.
Oh yeah.
And that's the type of player you want on your team. This guy that says, I'll take less money so you can build a team around me so I can win more cups.
No, I completely agree. As a Detroit fan, I'm really kind of annoyed but happy for the guy. It's no secret Detroit was definitely making a lot of cap space just to be able to have that chance to have such a great player join our roster. So it's bittersweet. I'm happy to see the guy get a contract that he's happy with, and he's continue in a city that he enjoys being in, and he's not forced to leave. But as a Wings fan, damn it.
I was kind of thinking this too, and to bring this up to you. Now, did Subban get traded? Because I know that a big thing too was that Montreal was going after Stamkos. Stamkos signed, then Subban got traded, or did Subban get traded, then Stamkos signed? I wonder if Montreal was trying to clear up some cap space themselves and go after.
I think that's a big possibility. My phone, I was going through all the updates today of all the trades and everything else that had happened through multiple leagues. I believe Taylor Hall got traded first, then Subban, and then Stamkos re-signed with Tampa Bay.
Now, could you imagine if you're sitting in Montreal right now, okay, and you're like, all right, so I just got Shaw, okay, I might have this possibility, like you were talking about, now I'm going to go ahead and trade Subban, because I have this eye set on Stamkos, and then minutes, say an hour even after you did that, all of a sudden Stamkos resigns, so the whole dream goes and that's Subban's gone.
Yeah. Could you imagine that guy? Could you imagine though? Could you imagine if both Edmonton and Montreal, that was their purpose today, was to make room for Stamkos?
Exactly. I mean, you have to. What is your plan B? You know what I mean? Because you pretty much went all in.